Wow, it's a Ninja 1000. Hey guys, welcome. Wow, oh, nice. Welcome to another episode on. Welcome to another video on Architects on Wheels. It's been quite some time since I've recorded a video. I think about a month or so. Yeah, I think more than that probably. I don't quite recollect. But yeah, I thought why not make another video today. So it's almost, as you can see, it's 10:30 in the night, and then I'm out on the highway. I'm just returning from a meeting from Thane. I thought why not make a nice video because it's winters, it's the right time to ride. It's very cold, very pleasant, very nice and breezy. No frets here. Traffic also, as you can see, is decent, not too much, not too less. And I thought let's get you through a couple of things that have been running through my mind for the last couple of weeks. I thought let's talk about an issue at hand, a pressing topic at hand that I feel you guys should have a look at is why you need an adventure bike. Yeah, I mean I really don't believe that I'm saying this because I've never been a guy who was into a sport bike or an adventure bike per se, but yeah, a couple of things happened in my life, and then I thought that it's best, it's logical and it's practical to shift to an adventure bike for a couple of reasons, and I thought I should share them with you as well. So let's begin. Point number one, what I feel is convenience. Yeah, I mean these bikes are pretty convenient, man. I mean these you can say these can be sort of a do-it-all motorcycle, and you can take them anywhere, everywhere. I mean not like those technical off-roads. I've covered that topic in my earlier videos before, but yeah, I mean these, wow, it's a Ninja 1000. Yeah, but these bikes can virtually go pretty much everywhere, and they are you can say jack of all. And to be very honest, just like you wanna go touring, you can just go touring. You wanna go on a speed run, this thing can just take you off. You can just have a lot of fun on this. If you wanna go for say city commutes, fast city commutes, this thing can go do that as well, because I've been using this for city commutes for the past 2.5 months, and I've been pretty much satisfied with it. The performance is on par. The fuck, the performance is pretty good. It can keep up with faster guys. Convenience in the convenience. So when it comes to convenience, this thing can take you on bad roads, even in the city. I mean I've been encountering like wow, see that. So there's one patch coming up. I have deliberately taken this bike on this patch so that I can show it to you guys. This thing can just fly off those potholes. Okay, not hard, not fast, but yeah, I mean if you're on a naked bike, say Dominar 400, or say, as a matter of fact, say hypothetically speaking, the CBZ or whatever, Charisma or some other bike, or even the Speed 400, as a matter of fact, you might have to slow down, but this thing doesn't, and that just makes your journey a bit more convenient, a bit more, what you can say, a bit more easier. Yeah, convenience makes it a lot easier, and it just adds to the value of the bike. What I feel, convenience should be there, and that is something that I've realized in my past ownerships of various bikes, ranging from the R15 to the Dominar to the Ninja 650 per se. Now see, this is a bad patch. I'm just standing on the bike, putting my feet on the pegs, and I'm just going through this, and if you can just look at the speedometer, it's just like 50, 60, and I'm just pulling through, man. I mean, this is what I feel convenience means to a rider, and this makes a lot of difference, especially in the city and when you're on bad road, even on, you know, out on the highway. So yeah, that's one reason what I feel makes adventure bikes a little more convenient and little more fuck, I'm running out of words, man. More value for money. So yeah, second point what I feel is the comfort. I know comfort and convenience kind of go hand in hand. There's a very thin line between these two, but I feel that these two things should be separate, because not every time that is something, you know, that is convenient is comfortable, and not every time that something is comfortable is convenient. So yeah, comfort, as a matter of fact, is also another point that, you know, makes these bikes a little more advisable, a little more easier to manage. Comfort, sorry, not convenience, comfort. So comfort in the sense that right now I'm sitting on this bike and I'm doing 70-80, I'm just trotting along. This same bike can do the same thing at this same bike can do the same thing at 130 as well, and you just feel like you're sitting on a sofa. I mean, one of my friends, Riyang, he said that the reason that he didn't buy this bike was that it feels like he's sitting on a sofa even when he's doing a high speed. And for me, that was a important point, and I feel that is something that is needed. Hold on a second, guys, I think I'm getting on a call. हॅलो, अगं हायवेवर आहे इकडे, घाटकोपरपर्यंत आले. बोल, काय झालं? हां हां. Yeah, so comfort is something, yeah, sorry, the camera's on. So comfort is something that I wanted, and I feel is an important point going forward in life, because when I had the Dominar, I was pretty much young. I was in my late 20s, early 30s. Now I'm approaching my late 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, and I feel that the comfort is one point that you should be there. It should be there on your checklist. Man, it's nice and cold here. I wish this stays this way. So yeah, as I rightly said, one of my friend Riyang, he owns Z800. He said that was one of the reasons why he didn't buy this bike, because it felt a bit too comfortable for him. He's also a Dominar owner, and he uses the Dominar 99% for his city commutes, and he said that this is tad bit too comfortable for his liking. Yes, some people don't like to be that comfortable because they are used to a certain posture on the bike, like he probably is for the Dominar. But yeah, I wanted, hey, that looks nice and flesh, yeah, pretty good. So yeah, that was one of the important points, because see, comfort is something that matters on the longer stints, at least for me, because on the Dominar I faced a lot of fatigue, faced a lot of unnecessary stress going forward. During the journeys. I mean, backaches, lower backaches, and sometimes the wrist used to pain. So these things do tire you out a lot in the longer runs, and if you have the tolerance limit for that, you can still go ahead with it. I still did have the tolerance for that, but then I decided that it's about time that I look at something else and make the journeys a bit more comfortable. So that's where these bikes do shine a lot. And the third point that I feel is the performance of these bikes, you can't say is exactly equivalent to the big bikes or the other bikes, because yes, these bikes are slightly in a different state of tune. These bikes are configured slightly different compared to your regular bikes. But then these do kind of, run quite good if you consider the KTM's. As a matter of fact, even the Himalayan, which is somewhat in the same category but not the budget wise. But yeah, these bikes do kind of run pretty good, and they're right there off the bat. I mean, they can go pretty fast, and I think these kind of performances are more than enough for even intermediate and beginner riders. For experienced riders, probably they might have to look somewhere else. Now I see again, this is convenience. I'm just standing up, not giving a fuck about the road, what kind of pothole is going underneath the bike, and just gobbling up. This thing kind of helps a lot. So where were we? Performance, yeah. See, Himalayan. So these things, whoa, these things do make a lot of difference, and judging by the performance of these bikes, I don't think so. This is pretty fast. I mean, this is not slow, but it's quick. These bikes are pretty quick, and they can keep you satisfied for a long time. There's no doubt about it. That's a total fuck fest on the road. Fuck me. Yeah, so even on the highways, this thing can easily hold 120, 130 and not sweat about it. And it kind of keeps you in the zone, and it keeps you happy. I mean, that's my limit, at least 130. Not that I can't say the same thing about other riders, but for me 100, 130 is the sweet spot, and I prefer not to exceed that even on longer stints. And right off the bat, these bikes are pretty quick. So these are one of the main 3 points that I feel why you need an adventure bike. I mean, if you're looking for something that does everything, which is a jack of all trades, so that adds to the convenience, has ample of space, goes over potholes easily, so that's comfort. And oopsie, this is not good. Yeah, sorry. And has equal amount of performance, almost, you can say almost equal amount of performance, and keep you kind of satisfied on the long runs. Then yeah, I think you should really look at an adventure bike in the category of say 300 to 400 cc's. There are a lot of options nowadays, even for the 200 cc's bracket. Like you have the V-Strom 250, you have the Hornet 200X, pardon me if I'm wrong, but yeah, that's also there, and it looks pretty beefy and nice, muscular as well. Then you have the SD Adventure, which is again a very handsome bike. An acquaintance has it in my society, and in flesh it looks pretty good, you can say, and it's nice, it's just nice. And then you have this new 2025 390 Adventure, which is coming up, and that is one purposeful handsome bike. It has the road variant and the off-road variant as well. Then you have the Himalayan 450. Again, I think they're coming up with the Himalayan 650 and the new version of it, which we're not yet sure, but we've seen a couple of spy pics. So yeah, options are there. Even upcoming options are pretty good, and you have a lot of things to, sorry about that, you have a lot of bikes to look at. So these are primarily the main three reasons which I feel are pretty much compelling to go for an adventure bike. Because see, I've been using one for almost a year now, and I've shifted from a road bike and a touring bike to an adventure bike, and life has been very easy. Life has been pretty simple that way. Not that it was complicated when I had the Dominar, but there were a couple of limitations even in city, even out on the highway, and this bike is kind of outweighing those limitations by quite a margin, and makes a lot of sense to me now. So yeah, I think that is these are the 3 points which I feel are pretty important for anyone while considering an adventure bike. And if you are looking for comfort, convenience, and sort of equality in performance, then I think adventure bike is the way ahead for you, because most of the people in my circle, riding circles, have shifted to अरे आंटी साइड में हटना है. Most of the people in my circle have shifted to an adventure bike, and they've been pretty much happy with it. In fact, I've known a couple of guys who have shifted from the Duke 390 second gen to the second gen 390 Adventure, and they've been happy with it. So yeah, that's about it. I think I've spoken my heart out. So let me know in the comment section below what you feel about my opinions. See, these are purely my opinions, and not necessarily are applicable for everyone. It's just that what I feel, and I made a video out of it that I thought I should kind of express it to you in a form of a video. So yeah, so these are the 3 main reasons why I think an adventure bike is something that you should look at if you're looking at these factors. So yeah, I've just reached my destination. I should be there in another 2 minutes, so stay tuned for the next video. And I'll keep you guys updated. See you all in the next one. And as I say every time, wear your gears all the time. It's better to sweat like a pig than to be skinned like a chicken. Do like, share, comment, subscribe, because 99% of the traffic on my channel is not subscribed. That subscription button that you hit will help me grow a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. See you all in the next one.